There's not many people that have lived a life as full as Johnny Cash. Through the course of his life, he created countless hits, received numerous awards and inductions, overcame drug and alcohol addictions, was arrested 7 times, and left a legacy as one of the greatest country artists to ever walk the earth.
He went from humble beginnings at his family's farm in Arkansas
to the highest possible peak of stardom. But what is it that we all love so much about Johnny Cash? Is it his relatable lyrics, his mesmerizing voice, or his sincere originality? Perhaps his interpretation of his own success will help us answer those questions.
Johnny,
Yes.
what do you think is the Johnny Cash appeal to the public, which is so strong right now?
I really can't answer that question. I do know what I do, though, and I really think I know who I am. And if there's appeal there, I think it might be through sincerity and honesty, because I do what I enjoy doing, and I love my work, and the people can sense that. If you don't enjoy your singing or even making your records, the people that buy the records can sense that. And I think it's sincerity of delivery that the people recognize. You can't fool the people. If you put out a record they don't like, they're going to throw it right back at you, and you deserve it because you're making it for them. And you have to love what you're doing, and you have to show that love in your work.
Throughout his career, Cash spent years on and off drugs, from using to sober and back again many times. He explains what started his addiction, as well as the faith and relationships that got him through.
First of all, what caused that period of depression? You were on your way up. You were successful. Things were going pretty good for you.
It didn't begin as a period of depression. I was a Christian from the time I was 12 years old, and I grew up in a church, and then I got into the Air Force and into the music business, and then I got away from it. I got to traveling. I stopped going to church. And then on some of the first long tours we had, somebody introduced me to amphetamines. He said, "You're tired? This will make you feel good." And he was right. It did. It felt so good. And I took them for a while. I'd take them before every show, and I'd search my conscience. And there was a demon called deception that made me believe, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I'd ask myself, how could anything that feels so good be so wrong? So I kept it up, and I would have argued with anybody that tried to tell me that it was bad for me. Now, this was in '59, and a lot of doctors didn't know what amphetamines would do to people. So I got hooked on it. I got taking amphetamines to the point of where I couldn't rest at night, So then I got to taking tranquilizers, and then I started to see into what I was really doing to myself. And then the depression set in when I realized that they had control. And pray as hard as I'd try, I could never reach out of it and find that strength, that I'd had all my life, until I'd had all these series of arrests and car wrecks and hospitalizations in different hospitals, and halfway quitting the habit, but I'd get out there and be my old friends with the pills again, so I'd go right back to it. Until finally in '67, I realized that this is it. I was down to 154 pounds, and I'm 6'2", and I knew I was dying, and there was that warm, still presence of God there behind me telling me that if I didn't, that I was gone, So with the help of June Carter and some other good friends helping us and standing by us and living with me out there at my house, I overcame the drug habit, and it was tough.
Looking back at Johnny's life, he's persevered through trying times. His story is marred by countless times that he fell down and got back up again. It's no surprise that his life philosophy is to never give up. To lots of people, this may sound like a cliche thing to say, but perhaps Cash would have never achieved the greatness he did without keeping these 3 words so near and dear to his heart.
The first time I knew what I wanted to do with my life was when I was about 4 years old. I was listening to an old Victrola playing a railroad song. The song was called Hobo Bill's Last Ride. And I thought that was the most wonderful, amazing thing that I'd ever seen, that you could take this piece of wax and music would come out of that box. From that day on, I wanted to sing on the radio. And I grew up in the 40s, and I heard all these great speeches like Winston Churchill. His most famous or infamous commencement exercise speech was one that consisted of 7 words. He stood before this graduating class and said, "Never, never, 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 never give up." And then somebody else said, "Every day in every way I'm getting better and better." I didn't especially believe that about myself, but I said it every day and I made myself believe it, and it worked. I persevered. I never gave up my dream to, quote, sing on the radio. I read a book when I was about 12 years old about an Indian named Lone Bull. Lone Bull was going to be a hero and kill a buffalo and bring it back to the village so his family and the other people could have meat. The elders of the village knew about the buffalo herd out there. They knew it was there, and they were making plans to cut into the herd and cut off some buffalo and kill them and have meat for the whole winter and into the next spring. Lone Bull wanted to be a hero. He went out with his bow and arrow and killed a calf and ran the herd off into the next state or whatever. He drug his calf home. His family was fed, but they were ostracized from the village. They had to leave the village. And Lone Bull became a wanderer until he found a village that would take him in. In that next village that he was taken in, he organized the buffalo hunt that winter. And he had more meat than this village had ever had before. So I learned from my mistakes. It was a very painful way to learn, but without pain, the old saying is, there's no gain. And I found that to be true in my life. You miss a lot of opportunities by making mistakes. But that's part of it, is knowing that you're not shut out forever and that there's a goal there that you still can reach. So, Lone Bull's philosophy was, I'm kicked out of this village, but I will grow up and I'll come into another one and I will do what I set out to do, and that was feed the people. You build on failure. You use it as a stepping stone. You don't close the door on the past. You don't try to forget the mistakes, but you don't dwell on it. You don't let it have any of your energy or any of your time or any of your space. You analyze it as you're moving forward and never fall in the same trap twice, which I can't say that I haven't been guilty of doing. But my advice is don't. If they're going to break your leg once when you go in that place, stay out of there. But the first thing is to know what you want to do. Set that goal out there and never lose sight of it and work toward it. And know that there are going to be byways and sidetracks. But keep persevering and keep on and do what you know that you want to do. And meditate on. A person knows when it just seems to feel right to them, something they want to do. Feelings still got a lot to do with it.
Lots of people would consider Johnny Cash one of the greatest songwriters of all time. But where is it he gets the inspiration from?
Songwriting is a very strange thing, so far as I'm concerned. It's not something that I can say, next Tuesday morning I'm going to sit down and write songs. I can't do that. Can't, no way. If I say I'm going to the country and take a walk in the woods next Tuesday, then the probability is next Tuesday night I might can write a song. Creative people have to be fed from the divine source. I do. I have to get fed. I have to get filled up in order to pour out. Really have to.
A Johnny Cash lyric that sticks out is, "I wear black for those who never read or listen to the words that Jesus said about the road to happiness through love and charity." Johnny credits a large amount of his perseverance and success to his religious beliefs. He even dedicated the 1975 book, Man in Black, to his wife's father, who helped shape his love for the Bible.
I wrote a book called Man in Black, and in the foreword of that book I said this book is dedicated to E.J. Carter. That's my wife's father, who taught me to love the Word. He was a theologian, and he got me into Bible history and the Bible commentaries. And I discovered the joy of discovering spiritual truths, and the Bible is the source of the greatest joy of that. It's a great moral stabilizer in a world run amok, and it's an anchor for my own conscience and my own mind and for my own life. It keeps my feet on the ground. It gives you the answer to every problem you're facing if you look for it.
Years later, he was diagnosed with neurodegenerative disease. Although Cash didn't let that turn his heart cold, He remained in high spirits for the remainder of his life and stayed true to his philosophy of never giving up.
Are you bitter?
Bitter?
Yeah, angry.
No.
I mean, you're a young guy, you're only 70.
No, I'm not bitter. Why should I be bitter? I'm thrilled to death with life. The way God has given it to me is just a platter, a golden platter of life laid out there for me. It's been beautiful. I've been with you many times, Larry, and it's all been uphill every time. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, things have been good, and things will get better all the time. I'm the last one that would be angry at God.
Well, how do you look at tomorrow?
Well, Larry, you can ask the people around me. I don't give up. And it's not out of frustration and desperation that I say I don't give up. I don't give up because I don't give up. I don't believe in it. It's like my father said, when you go to the cotton fields, if you're supposed to give the man 10 hours for $5 a day, give him 10 hours and a half. I still try to do that, if my session is supposed to be a 3-hour session, I'll try to do 4 or 5 hours of work because I love my work. So long as I can work, I'm going to work.
In May 2003, his wife June Carter Cash passed away due to complications following her heart valve replacement surgery. Most people would spend months mourning, but most people aren't Johnny Cash. Just 3 days after his wife's funeral, Cash was back in the studio recording music.
She told me in the hospital, said, go to work. I said, what are you talking about? She said, don't worry about me, go to work. And at the funeral, I could almost hear her saying, go to work. 3 days after the funeral, everybody said, you're crazy. But 3 days after the funeral, I was in the studio.
Really?
Yeah. And I stayed in the studio for 2 weeks. And it was great therapy for me. And I think I accomplished more in that couple of weeks than most of the other year combined.
Do you feel like you're in a monument of American music, or do you just look at yourself as John Cash?
Just as John Cash. Look, I appreciate all that, all the praise and the glory, but it doesn't change the way I feel about anything, really. I just do what I do and just hope the people enjoy it and just try to be myself in whatever I do.
No. You believe and you have faith. I mean, does it make it easier to look ahead and say, well, my life may end, but it's been good, I'm not afraid?
Oh, I expect my life to end pretty soon. I'm 71 years old. And I have great faith, though. I have unshakable faith. I've never been angry with God. I've never turned my back on God, so to speak. I never thought that God wasn't there. So He's my counselor. He's my wisdom. All the good things in my life come from Him.
Where do you think we go afterwards?
Where do we go? Well, we all hope to go to heaven.
Less than a month after that interview,
On September 12th,
2003, Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, passed away from diabetes at the Baptist Hospital in Nashville. He was buried next to his wife at Hendersonville Memory Gardens. Their deaths were less than 4 months apart.
Lord, I've never lived where churches grow. I've loved creation better as it stood. The day you finished it so long ago and looked upon your work and called it good. Others seem to find you in the light that sifted down through tinted window panes. And yet I feel your presence here tonight in this dim, quiet starlight on the plains. That's part of the Cowboy's prayer.